Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am making a paper anemone. And to make this flower I am using template 26, which is my next template in the sequence of templates that I've been making. So the last one was template 25. That's the only reason why it's named 26. But to make this flower I am actually making one that is the most popular looking anemone. So the one that has white petals and a dark blue navy center. And I think this flower has been growing in popularity a lot the last few years. And I think the reason why is because it's such a simple design. It's white petals and just a blue center. However, the center looks so unique and it has a certain draw to it. So I think that this is a beautiful flower and I'm excited to make it. So for this tutorial, I think it will be really quick. I'm just going to go through the process of me putting together this flower. I think it's very easy and very quick to make, especially if you have a cutting machine, and so I'll talk about that along the way. So for template 26, it's actually 2 petals, and they're simple in shape, but I think that gives it the look that an anemone has. So I like petals that are very symmetrical. So a lot of my petals that you'll see in my templates are symmetrical petals. This one is not, and so I tried to make it so that it would look asymmetrical, and then there's 2 different petals so that it can add to that look, because anemones, although there's not a lot of flower petals, they do have a sort of look to it that you could just almost freehand petals or the petal shape if you'd like, but these are the 2 that I used. So this is what I created for template 26, so it would be both petals. And so I used 4 of each petal design. They are 5 inches wide. I tried to make it so that each petal is similar in size, although the shape is different. So I have 4 of this one and 4 of this one. Both are 5 inches wide. I have one 6-inch circle. I have 3 pieces, although I may not need all 3, of a 2-inch wide, like fringe cut, as I like to call it. This is for the center. I may only need 2. And then I have 3 pieces of this flower center that I created in Silhouette Studio. I have created a tutorial, or I have a tutorial on YouTube on how I make a center like this. I am going to link it below. I can't remember if I created one for Cricut as well. I'll have to go back and look when I edit this video and throw it up on YouTube. But if you'd like me to create another sort of walkthrough on how to make this, let me know down in the comments. I won't talk about it again because I think that I've already discussed it and maybe you already know how to make it and I don't want to be repetitive. But I have 3 pieces and the total width is 4.5 inches wide. And there's a very quick way that you can make it, at least I think it's fairly quick. Let me know if you'd like to see that tutorial in the comments below. So I have 3 pieces of that. For this flower, you can curl the petals, however, I don't think it's necessary to curl the petals. I think that the overall look that I'm going for is a flower that has petals in a circular shape. So if you search on Google, you will see that a lot of these anemones don't have a uniform way in which the petals are arranged, and so basically, as long as their petals are arranged in a circle around a center, you have the flower that you're looking for. And I think that the sort of, I'm blanking on the word, but the type of way the petals are arranged, it doesn't need to be, I guess I'll have to demonstrate it because I can't think of the word. It doesn't have to be that 2 petals are here and then 2 petals are here, and then you have this like equidistant placement of the petals. So the petals seem like they're placed all around, and that adds to the look of this flower, that it looks like it's thrown together, but it looks so beautiful and so simple. So all that I want to do is actually just cut that slit in the middle for this petal, glue it around, and then add the center. If you'd like to curl the petals, you're always welcome to do that. So with just a pair of scissors, I want the petals to lay fairly low along the circle. I don't want them to sit upright. So to me that means that I want a slit that is longer so that it sits lower. And what you can do is, what I like to do is I take 2 and then I flip it around. It's just a slight difference comparatively, but I think that it adds to that overall look that it was sort of no uniform way in which the petals are put together. So I just flipped 2 of the petals the other way so that when I glue it, so there's like a little notch here that's taller than this piece. This one's on the right, whereas this one would be on the left. And so it's just a small detail, and just a matter of gluing that petal. Just want a slight overlap in these 2 flaps. And because I only have 8 petals, this will definitely go very quickly, which is one of my favorite things, especially at this time of the year. Okay, so that is one set of petals. Now this one, it's fairly uniform in shape, but it isn't symmetrical. If you bisected it along the vertical axis, they are not the same shape, but you can do the same where you take only half of the number of petals and then flip the other half. So now that I have my petals glued, it's just simply gluing this to the base, but I want to stop and pause and kind of show what it would look like before I actually glue it down. So I want the petals to overlap each other just a little. And so what I can do is I can just alternate, so a petal of this style and then a petal of the second style, and just go all the way around. And I think that's probably what I'll do. You can add more petals if you'd like, and that'll just add to the overall look. It'll look more full if that's what you'd like. So I'm going to glue the first petal. I'm only going to put glue on the left hand side. And then glue it down. And then in the remaining petals, I can just glue the entire bottom portion. And then just glue down the second half of that petal. Okay, so this was super simple, and that's the idea, that you don't need a flower that has a lot of layers, although you can have one if you'd like. You just want some that has adequate number of petals all around, and then you want to focus more on this center. So as you can see, if I put it just in there right there, that draws all your attention to the center, and that's why I think that this flower is so beautiful, because all of the visual interest is in the center, and then you have this beautiful white petal on the outside, and so I just think this is great. And all I'm going to do is take the 3 different pieces and then glue them together. I want to add just a little bit of glue, and I want to stagger or sort of glue them, but not so that they're sitting on top of each other. There is spacing in between each stamen, so I'm kind of shifting it a little bit so that it doesn't fall, so it kind of covers up all that space with the 3 pieces. And so just a little bit of glue. And so here, I'm not sure if the camera can pick that up, there is a little bit of space right there. And I'm going to align that there. And that way it almost looks like it's a complete circle all the way around. So I want the thick, like the fullness of all these stamens here by adding 3 of them all together. So just that alone, I feel like it looks so great, but I will curl these stamens later. What I want to do is work on that inner center portion. Now, the idea again is I want to make this flower super easy. So what you can do is you can take a foam ball or styrofoam ball or whatever sort of ball that you can cut and paint. So I would have normally gotten a foam ball, cut it in half, and then painted this navy blue color and just glued it right on top. And That's great if you have foam balls, if you can cut it right, and then if you have time to paint and let that dry. I think the effect is great. I've done that before, so here I just want to do one completely with paper so that you don't have to get extra supplies if you didn't want to. But obviously that half a styrofoam ball right in the middle would be perfect here, and then your flowers would be done. But if you just wanted to use paper, here's just a small way that you can do it. So this is a 2-inch wide sheet. I'm just going to fold it in half and then just glue this together. So I let my machine cut this out because it just glues, it cuts it out so much quicker. And then all I need to do is just glue it. You can just fold a small piece of paper and then just cut it with scissors. And then I like to take my bone folder and just press that down to make sure that it's creased where I want it to be creased. That way it would sit flat when you're rolling it. And then you just glue it together. Now I want to be careful that I'm only adding just an adequate amount of glue. So as I'm adding the glue, I'm also sort of pressing it into the paper so that I can spread the glue out. Sometimes when I add too much glue, then it sort of warps the paper, and then it sort of makes the flower center portion here like very bulky. So I just want to add a small amount of glue that it's glued together, but not too much. So I'm just going to do 2 sheets for now, and if I decide I can do 3. Okay, and then it's just a matter of rolling this together. So I want it to be rolled tightly. So when I start, I'm going to try to get it as close as I can to be like a tight little circle. So I want that to be very tight as I roll it. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of glue so that it doesn't unravel. And then what I'm going to start doing is, after I finish this piece, I will roll the other piece a different way. And I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so now we have one piece. And what we want to do is we want to mimic more of a circular center rather than one that looks like a cylinder, I would say. So what I'll do is I'll start rolling it, but I'm going to place the second sheet a little bit lower than this one here. And so what will happen is you'll have a little bit of an edge sticking out from the bottom. Sort of like that right there. So I'm going to add glue to the piece that we just rolled. And then I'm going to... And what I want from doing this is that I want that first piece that we rolled to sit higher, and as we roll it around, we're going to go lower and lower so that this center almost looks like a dome rather than a cylinder. So we're going to try to mimic that. And then after I roll about half of the sheet, I'm going to go lower. I'll glue it lower. And so here is the trick. You have to glue not the piece that you need to roll, but what you've already rolled before so that it can stick. Okay, and with enough of these, you can sort of get a dome. I think I'm going to just do 2 sheets here, or 2 pieces. And so in the tutorial that I created before, I'm not sure if I talked about it, but you can change the size of this circle here. Now if you wanted a larger piece of center, with this piece, you wanted this wider, you can certainly create that wider. I only wanted it to be 2 inches wide, so I can't make too wide. I can't roll a piece too wide because otherwise it will overlap this portion here. Okay, so maybe what I'll do is I'll do this third piece now that I see that. Okay, so I did try to stagger how I am gluing this piece so that it gets more of a dome shape. You don't have to do that if you don't want. You can just leave it and glue it as normal so that it's more of a flat top here. It looks more like a dome. So from here, all I need to do is I need to glue this portion to the center like that. Okay, so now that I have glued this here, I haven't obviously glued this portion of the center to the flower because what I want to do is I want to be able to pick it up. I take my bone folder and I just slightly curl the center stamens so that they sit up, but I don't want to curl it too much. And then what I'll do is I'll take my finger and I will sort of poke or like push up some of the stamens so that they're not all uniform, and I'm trying to get a more realistic look. So here then it's just gluing this portion here to the flower. Now depending on your preference you can make a larger center, and like personally I tend to like bigger centers, and so what I would have done differently is I could either glue the petals closer to the center, it means a smaller overall width, or I could just use a larger center and fill up more of this space here. It depends on what you like. I think I've seen flowers, anemone flowers, either way. I tend to like the bigger centers, and so that's just one example. Obviously there are many ways you can make this flower look like this, but you can change things to your preference. So that's it. I think I did more explaining than I actually did putting together this flower. I do think it's pretty straightforward, but let me know if you have any questions below in the comments section. Let me know if you want to see that tutorial again. I will leave that link to the tutorial I did before for the center. Let me know if you want to see it again. I don't know if I made one for the Cricut, like I said. If you do want to see it again, let me know if you have a Cricut or a silhouette which you'd like to see. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.